The San Francisco 49ers are the only team in the NFL who have a running back who can play wide receiver full-time and a wide receiver who can play running back full-time. Here we have Christian McCaffrey in the slot. This is a routine play. It's a straight drop back for the quarterback and there's no misdirection or trick play elements to it. McCaffrey is isolated against the defender who is playing zone coverage. It's an option route, so McCaffrey makes his read off the defender's position and breaks to the space on either side depending on what he does. He does so perfectly and his quarterback hits him in the soft spot of the zone for the first down. McCaffrey's quickness and precision made him a mismatch for the cornerback in this situation. But getting open against off-man coverage or zone coverage when you have a cushion and two options is relatively easy. So let's jump to McCaffrey as the primary receiver facing press man coverage on 3rd and short, where he lines up on the narrow side of the field. The defense has to account for McCaffrey as a running back in the personnel package, so when the 49ers spread the field in an empty set, he's left isolated one-on-one with a linebacker. They can't just play all defensive backs because then the 49ers would run on them. He quickly closes the space between himself and the defender in his release from his stance, which allows him to make a sharp cut infield before reversing back outside to the sideline. The linebacker has no chance here. He needs McCaffrey to make a mistake in his route technique to stay with him. But McCaffrey runs routes like a wide receiver, so that doesn't happen. He doesn't need to run a route like a receiver on this play. The defender jumps inside early. He guesses where McCaffrey is going to go because he doesn't want to try and mirror him through his route. That opens up the sideline and McCaffrey doesn't hesitate to take it. It's easy for him to get downfield here, but he has to make a difficult adjustment to catch the ball once he gets there. It's not easy to turn and track the ball downfield like this, and then McCaffrey has to absorb the hit before securing the ball while toe-tapping his feet in bounds. He makes all this look very easy and does it in rhythm, but this is not supposed to be an easy play for a running back. It's not an easy play for most wide receivers. Like Darren Sproles, James White or Marshall Faulk, McCaffrey can work the whole field with his routes. Most running backs can run routes from the backfield and catch passes, but only a limited number of routes and only to a certain degree of effectiveness. Too many deal with drops all the time. McCaffrey can do everything at a high level as a receiver, and now he's with a coach who will do everything he can to take advantage of his skill set. Shanahan doesn't have to do anything revolutionary to get McCaffrey open. Coaching is often about making small or subtle changes that have a big impact on the outcome of the play. For this play, McCaffrey releases from the backfield. He can attack the middle, the outside, or vertically from here. But when running backs release from the backfield, they often have to wade through a crowd at the start of the play. There are 4 defenders in the area that he wants to release through to start his route. There will also be 2 offensive linemen who either create inadvertent obstacles for McCaffrey to get past, or who will require a chip block as help from the running back before he can release into his route. To avoid all of this potential traffic, Shanahan makes a very simple adjustment just before the ball is snapped. He slides McCaffrey to the outside. This does 2 things. It means McCaffrey can immediately work on closing the gap between him and the defender to begin his route, and it also tells the quarterback it's man coverage because the defender followed him outside. Of course, the trade-off here is the defensive end knows that he's not going to face help on the edge because McCaffrey has moved too wide to give a chip block. McCaffrey is a one-on-one where he easily rinses the defender and is wide open down the sideline for a big gain. From the end zone angle, we can see the impact of McCaffrey's shift on the timing of the play. Garoppolo held the safety and stepped up in the pocket before hitting his running back at the widest possible point for the big gain. If McCaffrey had been slowed at the start of the play, Garoppolo can't hit him in rhythm like this. Garoppolo probably drops his eyes or looks for a different option because the timing isn't perfect. Here we see the exact same action working against the Saints. He again roasts the defender in one-on-one because the defender has to account for every possible route in this situation. McCaffrey could run a sharp out route, an inside breaking route, a quick curl route, a skinny post route, a corner route, or the vertical route that he actually eventually runs. Of course, sometimes the best defense is a bad throw from the quarterback, and that's exactly what Jimmy Garoppolo provides here. Having McCaffrey means having a running back who can turn easy throws for the quarterback into big gains at a higher rate than his peers across the league. On display against the Miami Dolphins, the defense shows an all-out blitz and Deebo Samuel motions from the right slot back into the backfield. Deebo is now an alert call for the defense. The assumption is the ball is going to find its way to him at some point because of his position at the start of the play. If he's in the backfield, it's presumably for a reason. But Samuel is actually the reddest of herrings here. He's solely there to make the linebackers hesitate for a moment after the snap. He does that without really doing anything, he just motions into the right flat. Meanwhile, Brock Purdy is whipping the ball to McCaffrey in the left slot as fast as he possibly can. George Kittle is getting out in front to be his lead blocker. Kittle clears the first level of the defense before Trent Williams leads the way downfield from the left tackle position. The only surprise here is that McCaffrey didn't find his way into the end zone. Now let's switch to a play where Samuel lines up at wide receiver initially as part of a stack before going in motion at the snap. Samuel is directly behind the quarterback when the ball is snapped. He's again a distraction to the front 7. But McCaffrey is initially a distraction too. He goes left, Samuel goes right, and the quarterback looks over the middle, deep downfield for Brandon Ayuk, or short to George Kittle who's running a curl route that pulls the defense inside. The defense is being stretched in every direction by the play design. Samuel's pulling them left, McCaffrey's pulling them right, Kittle and Ayuk are pulling them inside. Something's got to give. The quarterback just has to make the right decision here. Ultimately he does. He gets the ball to McCaffrey on the outside. He has the edge on the defender. The defender is at his mercy as he catches the ball here. From here, McCaffrey can cut back inside of him or sprint to the sideline to beat him for the first down. That's the option he takes, breaking the tackle on the way before stepping out of bounds for a first down. So now let's look at something similar but completely different. This time it's McCaffrey lined up at wide receiver going in motion before the snap. He goes behind the quarterback but in front of the fullback, so it's slightly different. Samuel eventually takes the pitch in the backfield, and this time it's McCaffrey and fullback Kyle Shanahan acting as lead blockers. They create the running lane on the edge, and Samuel finishes the run strong to get another first down the sideline. This time it's George Kittle's turn to go in motion. He moves from an inline tight end position on the left side to the fullback spot in front of Samuel in the backfield. McCaffrey is at wide receiver on the left side. Brandon Ayuk is the one who goes in motion at the snap this time. He goes in the opposite direction of the play as Samuel takes the ball going right. McCaffrey is already on the left side and he's filling the red herring role this time because he's not actually involved in the play at all. Samuel takes the pitch and he has right tackle Mike McGlinchey along with Kittle as his lead blockers. They effectively set the edge and Samuel turns the corner to reach the end zone for the touchdown. In this offense, you have skilled position players who can do anything that's asked of them. Kittle can be a receiver, he can be a blocker, and he can do anything else you want him to be. It's the same for McCaffrey, it's the same for Samuel, and it's the same for Jusic. You also have offensive linemen who are big-bodied athletes so they can get out and run or stay in tight to be effective. It's basically impossible to game plan against this offense because they can do anything from any formation with any personnel package. They're not tethered to playing in one style or a group of plays that they rely on to be effective. They can do anything they want to do. Defenses generally try and guess your tendencies and stop those plays to force you to win in ways you don't want to win. There is no way the 49ers don't want to win. Shanahan doesn't need to be overly creative with this group, but if you look at George Kittle's first touchdown against the Seattle Seahawks last week, you'll see his creativity come to the fore. He uses multiple misdirection screens there to set Kittle up over the middle for a touchdown. For the second touchdown, it's a very straightforward play design where the Seahawks coverage beats itself by overreacting to McCaffrey in the flat. Kittle comes wide open, and once he gets the ball in this kind of space, you're not going to stop him easily. Now cut back to the same player acting once again as a lead blocker with Kyle Shanahan and Trent Williams on the left side for McCaffrey. You're seeing a full range of ability there from Kittle. He's running through the defense in one scenario and he's the blocker in another scenario. If the 49ers wanted to, they could just line up and run through or run over every defense every single week. But McCaffrey, Kittle and Samuel are so valuable in space as well, you have to incorporate that bit of creativity. It keeps the defense off balance and keeps them guessing on every single play, which makes it easier to run over or run through them every week. McCaffrey is an elite running back behind an elite offensive line and an elite run scheme. This is what that looks like.